Stay tuned for the following special presentation from KOFO 1220 and 103.7 FM. KOFO, your sports source for East Central Kansas, welcomes you to the Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show on 103.7 FM, 1220, and online at KOFO.com. We invite you to join us live at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa for food and drink specials during the show, as we talk OU Braves and Lady Braves basketball with head coaches Aaron Siebenthal and Bruce Tate. Pizza Time Hoop Talk is brought to you by Ottawa Family Physicians, Lamb Roberts Funeral Home, Pizza Time, and Ottawa University. Now, with this edition of Pizza Time Hoop Talk, here's KOFO's David Potter.
All right, hello and welcome to the Hoop Talk Show, where we'll spend the next hour talking OU Braves basketball. We are here live at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa, so welcome you to come on down and join us, talk some basketball, and eat some of the best pizza in the entire Kansas City area, in my opinion. And I don't just say that because they're a sponsor. We probably eat here at least a couple times a month. But at any rate, I'm David Potter, and I'm joined here by Coach Bruce Tate. And Coach, thanks as always for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we didn't get a chance to talk last week about kind of the 2016 portion of the season, but just to revisit that briefly. First of all, you got the opportunity to go to Vegas, which I know the players were very excited about. I heard them talking about it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. To finish out the first half of the season in Vegas was, great experience, not only for, the program, but individually for our players. And like I said, it's, first time that many of them got to fly, the first time they've been in Vegas, and they were pretty amazed about the size of the hotel, the creativity of the place, and it just was great team bonding that they got to do, for about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. So obviously it's sort of a business trip as well. How do you strike that balance with letting them experience the city, but also make sure their minds are still on basketball?
Yeah, it was actually set up really good for, basketball and that fun part. We had a little trouble getting out of Kansas City with the weather, so our flight was delayed on Sunday, but we got out there, mid-Sunday evening, so they got a little free time there once we got there that evening. But we played games, Monday and Tuesday. Monday we were the only game at 6 o'clock. Then we played Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. So basically we got up, ate pregame, and then we were heading to the gym. So once we, left that gym, probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock, they had pretty much free time from there on out. We did something as a team on that Wednesday night, and then, Tuesday night we did, and then Wednesday was pretty much a free day all day. And then we got back on the plane come Thursday morning. So, yeah.
And as far as the basketball goes, is it helpful to kind of break out of the routine of not only playing the KCAC teams, but generally in the non-con you're going to play teams from pretty close by in the Midwest, but there you got to play one team from Ohio and one from Texas, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. We played Wayland Baptist in northwestern Ohio. Wayland Baptist, that was the first time we played them, since I've been here in the program for 19 years. And NAI Division I school that was at the national tournament last year, so a very, very competitive program there in northwestern Ohio. We actually played them in the Cruising Classic probably about 6 years ago within the same organization of tournaments. So pretty familiar with the school, but totally different coach, so new players. So it's always good to kind of break up the season with some non-conference games there over Christmas. It allows us to focus on ourselves a little bit, but also get some really good competition to help fuel us for the second half of the season.
Right. You mentioned Wayland Baptist being a D1 school. They're also, at least at times this year, they've been getting votes for the top 25. So that's a quality program. And if I'm not mistaken, we didn't get to cover that one, but I believe you guys had a lead in the fourth quarter. That came down to the wire.
Yeah, it did. We were down 13 at half, made a huge run in the third quarter, and went up 8 they had, one kid that kind of got on fire, from the three-point line, went 4 for 4, and we needed one stop and one rebound to kind of close that out, and we got the stop, he got the rebound, and being a young team that we are, we did turn it over, and Waylon was able to capitalize on that, and next thing you know, we're fouling and trying to get the lead back, and we played our best, but just not best enough to win, but yeah, it was a great college game. I don't think Waylon expected that for us to be that competitive, but it was a great basketball game.
And you mentioned turning the ball over and ended up not quite being enough. That was sort of the story. You played two of the top teams in the conference back to back, and Friends and Tabor, and in both those games you had the lead. I mean, you were right there with them the whole way, and just in both those games, just it slipped away at the last minute. Do you think that's is that a result of just having young players, and specifically in the guard position where they're your primary ball handler?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kelsey and Jenna are doing a great job of, being first-year players in a really tough conference, and they've been put in positions that we're used to having some experience, with Morgan Kramer back there last year and Connor Strader, and now we just don't have that experience of guard play, and they're making some freshman mistakes, but they're also doing a lot of good things for us too to put us in positions to win games. So,
right.
What we're really struggling with is our seniors at times making, some of those freshman mistakes. And, if we can clean that up just a little bit and, get some key stops and some key rebounds, we're going to come out on top of those closer games. But yeah, just to be, right there, one or two possessions away from, being in first or second in the conference is crucial. And we need to be a little bit more focused on those possessions.
And is that a tough dynamic to manage, having most of your team either being seniors or freshmen with not a whole lot in between?
Yeah, it really is because, like at the beginning of the year, our seniors always wanted to move a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in situations before, even with these conference teams on things that we would do on the fly, and I'm like, hey, we got to slow down. These kids aren't ready for that. So it's trying to balance the two has been tough. I think we're at the point where we got enough in to be able to make some adjustments on the fly now. But man, yeah, you're exactly right. It's just half of our team is new,
right?
And they've never had Sterling or Tabor or friends in the situations that we've had them in, and they're kind of learning at a high level, and that's good for the playoffs, the tournaments, and in the future.
So we'll kind of segue into that. You mentioned kind of picking up on new things. And speaking of new things, going back to last week, you played St. Mary on Thursday and came out with kind of a different defensive look than you normally do. Was that something you were able to kind of install during the break? Or
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we kind of put in before break, but we kind of broke down more during the break. During that Christmas break, it gives you a time to not only review, but also put in a few more things that we needed, and just kind of change the pace of the game every once in a while. So it's something that we've done, in the past, throughout my years here, and it's a decent press, for this group, but we still have some work to finalize that. But it did catch St. Mary's off guard, and it was tough for them to recover from that.
It was, and then, of course, in that game you had fantastic performances by Kaylee Williams and Maddie Stewart, 35 and 33 points. I believe one, if not both of those, were career highs for them.
Yeah, 35 and 33. I didn't know until Coach Bedell said something like towards in the fourth quarter. He's like, when's the last time we had two players in 30-point games? I'm like, really? I'm like, I knew they were playing that well, but I didn't know that they that close. And Kaylee, just 2 points from breaking the single game season record with I think it's 36, and she needs 37 to break it. So that's not, of course, not common if that's close to the record. And that was great to see. Our ball movement was great. We did a lot of good things, offensively in that game, and but it's basketball. That doesn't happen every night. So, but it was a great performance by those two, and they're very capable of that on any given night.
Right, and do you feel like maybe that switch to the up-tempo defense, forcing the turnovers, that generally leads you to being able to shoot more and have more possession of the ball? Do you feel like that kind of sped up the offense and maybe got them into a rhythm a little quicker?
Yeah, I think it did. Our philosophy is to allow our defense to fuel our offense, and when we get steals or deflections, that's a free possession for them to kind of do anything that they want. So you got to reward those kids for playing that hard on the defensive end. So I was like, hey, you get a steal, deflection, and you're free to do whatever, and they respond to that. So, but the main thing is that we got to apply enough pressures. We got to have the right rotations to do that consistently, and it's not going to be that same way, against every team that we play. But for the most part, they did a good job on the first night out, and of course you're going to have a little bit more energy, in your gym when it comes to that.
Right, and you mentioned you're not going to be able to play like that against each team, and I think McPherson's probably a prime example of that. They really like to slow it down more and use more of the shot clock and really limit possessions and make it more of a down-tempo kind of game. And really going both ways. It was a struggle offensively for both teams on Saturday. Was it tough for the team to transition from more of that up-tempo style and just 2 days later going to something?
Yeah. The two things that I warned our girls about going into MAC was, if they come out and offensive rebound extremely well, they're going to keep themselves in the ball game, and they're going to be a better defensive team than they played against on Thursday, and that they're going to get after it, and it's going to be tough to score. So, Mac does a great job of, disguising our defenses a little bit, changing things up. And when we did get good looks, I think we were so happy that we were open that we just rushed our shots. So that was tough to see. And defensively, we did everything that we needed to do besides boxing out at times. If we hold a team under 60, we feel that we can win that ball game, and holding them to 52 is exactly what we wanted to do. But I think we gave up maybe around 16 offensive rebounds and gave us some second chance points, and that was the main difference of the game.
Yeah, and I remember, I know Maddie Stewart was the leading rebounder in that game, but had a tough time getting their shot to fall. I think 1 for 10 from the field. Just one of those nights where I know on a couple of those threes they looked good, and then just rimmed right out. It was just kind of one of those games where there's not much you can do about it.
Exactly, and it's just something about that gym with shooting there, and about two or three of her threes just rattled in and out. Same with Ashley. I mean, there was a lot of buckets around the basket that just rattled in and out, and that's tough to swallow. But you still got to control things on the defensive end.
Yeah, and we mentioned Kaylee Williams' big performance on Thursday, and then she looked like tweaked an ankle early on Saturday, and it looked to me like she might have been maybe just a step slower the rest of the game. Yeah,
it definitely tightened up on her throughout the game, and she practiced on Monday, was still a little limped. We took off Tuesday to give her a little time to recover. Ashley, you were a little banged up, and she looked refreshed today. So she's had some ankle problems in the past, so it's just one of those things where you're a senior, tape it up, rub a little dirt on it and suit up. So she'll be fine. Yeah, she'll be fine.
And she went back out there and played well, but I know since her primary strength offensively, or at least one of them, is that quickness, that ability to get into the lane, get to the basket. Yep. When you've got an ankle hurting you, that really kind of takes away that part of the game a little bit.
Yeah, she definitely lost her lift, when it came to that ankle injury. But just proud of her for being there for her teammates and being tough enough to go out there and play.
Yeah, and we weren't doing the show at the time it happened, but we should probably mention the Tabor game. Ashley Romig just getting a dislocated finger popped right back into place and just coming right back out and playing the rest of the game. That's toughness.
That is some toughness, and with the bad knees with her, and she got some really good treatment on that finger yesterday, where it was tightened up and she wasn't getting any flexion, and now it's it's moving, and she's shaking and moving with it, still taped up. But yeah, she lives in the training room for sure. I mean, from head to toe, that kid is beat up.
All right, well, we will go ahead and take a break and then talk a little more about this week's opponents. You're listening to the Pizza Time Hoops Talk Show here on KOFO.
Confidence, passion, skill, knowledge. At Ottawa University, I've gained the strength to discover who I am and the confidence to be myself. I've met people from around the globe from different backgrounds and cultures, with opportunities to get involved and bring our passions to life with more than 30 clubs and organizations. We all come together into a faith-inspired community that quickly becomes family. I invite you to be brave like me at Ottawa University. Find out more at ottawa.edu today.
At Ottawa Family Physicians, their physicians and nurse practitioner provide a variety of comprehensive health care services, including family medicine, OBGYN, pediatric, and geriatric care. Doctors Ransom, Spratt, Gollier, Sinclair, Ogilvy, Nichols, and Simmons offer their services 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and Saturdays from 8:30 to noon. For your health care needs, call Ottawa Family Physicians at 785-242-1620. Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's pizza joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
Is that a 747?
Only Taco Bell's $5 cravings deal has 5 of your favorites in one box.
How do planes fly?
So you don't spend your lunch break deciding what's for lunch.
700,000 pounds in the air and no one questions it?
Freeing your mind for so many other thoughts.
I mean...
They're just planes, man. Get over it. Taco Bell's $5 cravings box with a cheesy gordita crunch, burrito supreme, taco, nachos, and a Baja Blast. It's the only lunch that frees your mind and your cravings. At participating locations, prices may vary. Tax extra.
All right, we are back and at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa. We've still got time to come down and join us and ask. We've got Coach Bruce Tate of the women's team, and then here in maybe about 10 minutes or so, we'll be talking to Coach Siebenthal on the men's team. So if you have any questions for them, be sure to, you can call them in, you can get them to us on Facebook or on Twitter, or of course you can visit us here, grab a pizza, and then ask them here in person. But we're still talking with Coach Tate of the women's team. We've kind of gone over the season to this point and last week's game. So looking ahead, tomorrow we've got a long trip up to York, Nebraska to play a team that they haven't won a game in league play yet.
Yeah, actually, they just won their last one. They ended up beating Bethel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So they're 1 and like whatever they are, and
right.
And they played well in that game. It was a very decisive win, very surprising. That they beat Bethel, by 20 points or so, and but yeah, that's. Those games are always scary, going on the road, and they're playing with a lot of confidence now with the win, and we're going to have to be ready, just with the long trip and things of that nature. We just hope our girls stay focused on the task at hand.
Is that maybe in a good way almost, or in a way almost a good thing that maybe it wakes the team up a little bit and prevents them from looking at them as a winless team, and maybe shifts that to looking at them as a team coming off a 20-point win? Yeah,
absolutely. We were able to get some, watch some good film of their good plays that they made to win those games. And, they got, I told the girls they got at least one player that I feel is an all-conference player. And for a team that's, only has 1 or 2 wins in the league, that's showing a lot of respect for her. And she's definitely a solid guard, in our conference. But, for us to come off the loss that we are, we've got to show a sense of urgency and a way to bounce back against teams that are struggling. And I feel that we need to go in there and not only play well, but do the little things that we've been teaching to make sure we're efficient enough to win.
And what style of play do you expect out of York? They've been coming on a little more recently. Have they changed in style at all over the course of the year?
Yeah, not too much. I did watch one film right before Christmas, and then I watched a couple games here after Christmas. The biggest difference that they're doing is some full court pressure. They do exactly what we do, kind of the 2-2-1 back to a 2-3. They'll do a little baseline out of bounds 2-3 and show a little 2-3. So I would assume that they will, play some 2-3 zone against us, just with how successful Mac was with it. Offensively, I would say that they're not taking as bad of shots, not rushing them as much. They're moving the basketball a little bit more and trying to get it into the right players' hands. When you have a team that is struggling, you slowly find those small successes as a coach, and I think he's been able to do that. And they're starting to trust in one or two players to make plays for them. And now, the other kids, all they have to do is their job. So, right. So it's one of those things where they are getting better, but they do still have some major concerns, when it comes to the defensive end and taking care of the ball. And if we can exploit that, then we'll be fine.
Right. And about a 4.5-hour bus ride up there. Is it any tougher to loosen up and get game ready after a drive like that, or does it not really make much of a difference?
Yeah, we're used to traveling in this conference, and we got to have the kids just say, hey, it's just another road trip. That it's no different. Just adding another hour to it, and so we're going to stay the same routine. Outside of having 2 meals on the bus versus one, it's a little different, but it'll be a long trip, but I think going to a new place, new routines is always good. Everyone is new, so it's new excitement for everybody in the program, unlike just our newcomers.
And then just 2 days later, followed that up with a road game against Southwestern. You were able to beat them in Wilson Fieldhouse to open up KCAC play. Talk a little about how they've been doing lately and what you expect to see from them.
Yeah, I haven't looked as much. They've been up and down. They've had some injuries kind of right after our game with their best player, Jordan Miller. So they struggled without her in the lineup. Outside of that, I think they've had some different starting lineups here and there. I think they've been pretty successful at home, but they have struggled on the road. So going into one of the oldest gym, in the state of Kansas is always a tough place to play. So it's one of those things where if Jordan Miller is playing well, then the kids around him, if they do their jobs and they show up, then it's going to also be another tough game for us, on the road.
Yeah. And obviously, we have a chance of some bad weather on Saturday. Is that, obviously that's a much more of a concern for outdoor sports. Does that enter the players' minds at all, or since they're on a bus?
I told them that, we're planning on playing. We don't try to cancel too many games, at the collegiate level. But when it concerns player safeties, then, we got to make the right decision. So we talked about it briefly tonight so that their parents know that, we are aware of the situation and we're keeping our eyes as much as we can on it. But as of right now, we're playing tomorrow. We're coming home, getting prepared for Southwestern. Like we're going there. If it gets canceled or rescheduled, then we'll deal with that when it comes up on Saturday.
All right. Well, hopefully the roads will stay all right and it'll be a safe trip. Coach, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again next week, hopefully with a couple more wins under the belt.
Exactly. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you. We'll go ahead and take another break, and then we'll be back with Coach Stephenthal of the men's team. You're listening to Hoop Talk here at Pizza Time on KOFO.
Family physicians, their physicians and nurse practitioner provide a variety of comprehensive healthcare services, including family medicine, OBGYN, pediatric, and geriatric care. Doctors Ransom, Spratt, Gollier, Sinclair, Ogilvy, Nichols, and Simmons offer their services 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and Saturdays from 8:30 to noon. For your healthcare needs, call Ottawa Family Physicians at 785-242-1620.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Director Eric Price.
I think an important part of what our staff can provide is that everyone in our staff has been affected by death. Everyone's lost a loved one in their lifetime, so they understand the grief process. They understand how difficult it is to move on from a loved one after they've passed away. Because of that experience, they're able to relate to the fact that everyone grieves differently. Everybody struggles at different times.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Home. Compassionate care when you need it most.
Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's pizza joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
Oh, fresh powder. I'll get the skis.
Ugh, I can't.
Winter nasal congestion. Is it A, cold, B, sinus pressure, C, allergies?
I'm not sure.
For all of the above, the answer is D, Allegra D, a maximum strength decongestant plus a powerful non-drowsy antihistamine for 24 hours of relief. Feel better?
Yep. Feel like racing?
Hey, wait! This winter, the answer is Allegra D. Look for Allegra D at the pharmacy counter. Use as directed.
And we're back for the second half of Pizza Time's Hoop Talk Show. We're here talking OU Braves basketball. If you want to come down and join us at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa, if you want to stop by, grab a pizza, a sandwich, some breadsticks, and whatever you want, you can come talk some basketball with us. Of course, if you have any questions, you can also call those in. You can also submit them online on Facebook or on Twitter. Joined now by Coach Siebenthal of the men's team, and thanks for joining us tonight, Coach.
Thanks for having me again, David.
Sure. So we went into last week's show with you sitting at 500 in conference play, and we're still sitting there after a 1-1 week. We'll start with the first game, St. Mary. We talked a lot about Grant Greenberg leading into that game, and in the first half against St. Mary, I believe he was held to just 3 points and really wasn't a huge factor offensively. And then came out in the second half and went for 19 more, if I recall correctly. So, was there anything that they changed up that they were able to get him into the game more, or did he just assert himself a little more in the second half?
No, I think what actually happened is we didn't do as good a job in the second half on the other guys, and that got us into a scramble situation where we had to run at their shooters. And then their shooters were smart enough just to move the ball to the next guy. And if you move the ball enough, it's going to end up in Grant's hands, and he's going to make shots. So we did a really good job on him in the first half. I think we did a good job on the second half. I think most coaches in our league say if you're going to hold Greenberg to 6 or 7 points under his average, they would probably take it. So
right.
It just looks, if he got 11 in each half, it wouldn't be as a big a deal, but he got 19 in the second half. But I thought we did a good job on their guys. It was really we left their shooters open too many times. They got too many good looks, I think, was one of the differences in that ball game.
And so against a team like St. Mary, I mean, they a large percentage of their shots come from three-point range, and then they've been able to surround Greenberg with a lot of guys who, if nothing else, they can shoot from outside the perimeter. That's got to be a hard thing to prepare for, to literally have to be in the face of every single player out there on the perimeter at all times.
Yeah, they have some great shooters, but their point guard is he's the all-time leading assist guy there. He's a good player, but he's not a very good shooter, statistically. And so, we could help off him, and we kind of dared him to shoot the ball. He ended up being 4 of 14 from the field, so that was a good strategy on our part. But simple things, their four men would set a ball screen and pick and roll or pick and pop, and we were switching that. That was part of our scheme, and we'd switch it, and he'd still get a wide open look when he pick and popped. Little things like that are just we've got to be better. And they had a ton of second chance points. So most teams are going to have 2 or 3 guys that can shoot it. And St. Mary definitely has those. So we just got to do a better job of taking our game plan and executing it for 40 minutes, not just for 20.
All right. So you feel like that was mostly a defensive issue in the second half, because it was a 1-point game at halftime. And
we let them off the hook in the first. It should have been a 10-point lead for us at halftime. I can't tell you how many bobbled passes we kicked out of bounds or how many offensive rebounds we gave up. I mean, there was a lot of things and we watched that film today actually, and just lots of things we could have cleaned up that it were either just simple passing and catching things or offensive rebounds we gave up. And then just not executing our game plan. So, I mean, you're not going to eliminate all those mistakes, but if you eliminate half of them, I think we win that game. So
right. And then in the second half, there were a lot of times, I remember a couple times it was Rice. I think Hollis Mitchell got to the rim, and, you usually see the ball roll in, and then every now and then it rolls out, and then sometimes in the same half it rolls out 4 or 5 times. And
sure.
I think that kind of...
Yeah, and that goes along with the fumbling a pass here or there. I mean, Titus missed a couple layups. I mean, Hollis missed a couple layups. Cam Lindsay missed a wide open layup. I mean, just things that, I mean, again, you're not going to eliminate all those, but if you make 2 or 3 more layups, all of a sudden it's a whole different ball game. So, and I don't know how you coach making layups other than you make layups in practice. I don't know how you coach catching and passing other than you do it in practice quite a bit. So. For whatever reason, I don't know if we had a little bit of nerves or what it was, but we just didn't make plays. We weren't very good that night. But hopefully our guys will continue to learn from that. And I think they learn from watching the film. And it's embarrassing on film when you miss a layup. I mean, it's embarrassing when you can't pass and catch. So hopefully we don't want to embarrass anybody, but hopefully they have pride in what they do and how they look on the court, and we'll make some adjustments.
Right, and that's something I was going to ask. If that's just a matter of luck, and sometimes the ball just doesn't roll off your finger right, or if you did feel like I know you had talked about, and the players that we spoke to last week had talked about not having beaten St. Mary in the time they were there, and if maybe the game was maybe a little too important at that time while they were out there.
Yeah, I mean, St. Mary's a rival for us for a lot of reasons. I mean, one, geographically they're close, but we're also, I'm friends with their coaches. Their graduate assistant played for us, and Chase Dipple. I mean, there's a lot of connections, and we do root for each other when we're not playing each other. But they've seemed to get the better of us lately, and I mean that goes both ways. I mean, I think we've beaten Kansas Wesleyan 13 straight times. So I mean, it's easy to find those runs here and there, and that's going to happen if you're in the league long enough. But I think guys probably put a little too much pressure on themselves, and really wanted that one pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, they were able to put that behind them and really come out and play well on the road against McPherson, and let it get a little close there really in the middle of the game toward the end of the first half, and then at the beginning of the second, and then just kind of blew the doors off at that point. Was there a little extra motivation coming off that tough loss against St. Mary, or was it just coming out and executing the game plan?
I think I don't know if there's any extra motivation. I think our guys, I mean, that's the one thing I've been happy with. Our effort has been pretty solid and consistent all year. I think we switched up our game plan defensively quite a bit for St. Mary because they have so many shooters, and so McPherson has more of a traditional 2-post lineup, and that kind of lets us get back to our base defense, and we're pretty good at it. And so I think that definitely helped with us being more in our comfort zone defensively. And, one thing we did is we really moved the ball and shared the ball. And when we move the ball, we have enough weapons that we're hard to guard.
Right.
When we dribble and there's 9 people staring at the guy dribbling, we're not very good. But when we pass the ball and share it, we're pretty tough. And we really moved the ball well in that game.
Yeah. And you mentioned having a variety of offensive weapons out there. And someone has really stepped up this past week is Jeremiah Brooks. I've seen him get a little extra playing time, and he's not only making shots but going up and getting rebounds. I believe he had a block against McPherson. He seems to add some energy to the team when he comes out there.
Yeah, definitely. JB is extremely athletic, really, really good around the basket he's a post player that at 6'3", 6'4", so he's not real big, but he's really athletic, can really finish around there, and he's an unbelievable rebounder. Unfortunately, JB is sick and probably not going to travel with us tomorrow, so
okay.
we'll be down a man there. But we're deep, and I think guys can step up. But yeah, JB's been playing really well. I feel awful for him, just because he's been playing so well, and he's earned more minutes, and he's an energy guy. And then we talk to JB about that all the time. I mean, if you can jump and block shots and rebound, you got to have energy to do those things, and so. When he has that energy, he can be a factor, and so hopefully he'll get healthy and maybe be able to make the trip with us on Saturday.
So who kind of steps up to fill that role if he's not able to make it?
It's a great question. Don't know if they'll have the answer, but the people that will be auditioning for that be thrown in the fire will be Zach Brown. Zach's got a little bit more playing time lately. Played a little bit in McPherson game.
Right.
He has been doing a good job in practice. Eric Stark, who plays more of the 5, will probably have to play some 4 there. And then Jacob Niedig, he's our backup point guard, but he actually is our kind of our next 4-man. He's just a big, strong, physical kid. And he plays the 4 for us a lot, kind of into close ball games where we're trying to finish it out of a game. An extra ball handler out there. So he actually today in practice took reps at the point guard and at the 4. So those will kind of be the guys we'll give a shot to first, and then from there we'll just get creative.
And something I've noticed about Niedig is that, not to get off topic here, but I believe he's second on the team in offensive rebounds, and that's tough to do from the point guard position. You see guys, looking at the NBA level, guys like Rajon Rondo and Russell Westbrook who can get boards from the point guard spot, but it's usually defensive rebounds. Niedeg's able to get underneath and pull down offensive boards as a point guard. That's got to be tough to do.
Yeah, he because he's such a good rebounder, we usually have, if Hollis is in and he's our point guard, Hollis is the guy who's back on defense.
Right.
But because Jacob is such a good rebounder, we will usually designate our 2-man to be back. And Jacob just has a knack for the ball. He'd be the first guy to tell you he's not overly athletic. He can't out-jump anybody, but he's got like I said, just a good nose for the ball. He can kind of watch it and see where it's going to come off. And he's also not afraid to get in some middle of somebody's back and give him a little extra push or shove there that maybe sometimes gets called, sometimes doesn't. But he's a hard worker. We knew he could rebound it. He averaged over 7 rebounds at his junior college a game. So from the point guard spot. So we knew he could rebound, and he's definitely brought some toughness and some grit down there around the boards.
All right, and we'll go ahead and take a break, and then we'll talk a little more about the McPherson game, and then we'll preview this week's opponents. Again, you're listening to the Hoop Talk Show here at Pizza Time. We'll take a quick break and then be back with more. You're listening to KOFO 1220 and 103.7 FM.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Director Eric Price.
The reason that I would call us a superior funeral home is caring just comes naturally to all of the staff members. It's really not anything that I've ever done. It's what my staff has done and actually taught me how to do, is to lead with your heart. When you meet with the family, know that the care that you provide is the reason that they've come in.
Lamb Roberts Funeral Home, Ottawa, Baldwin City, and Overbrook. Compassionate care when you need it most.
Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa has been Ottawa's pizza joint since 1985. Enjoy their lunch buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. Dine in or carry out your order. Call 242-TIME. That's 242-8463. It's always time for pizza at Pizza Time.
Confidence, passion, skill, knowledge. At Ottawa University, I've gained the strength to discover who I am and the confidence to be myself. I've met people from around the globe from different backgrounds and cultures, with opportunities to get involved and bring our passions to life with more than 30 clubs and organizations. We all come together into a faith-inspired community that quickly becomes family. I invite you to be brave like me at Ottawa University. Find out more at ottawa.edu today.
At Ottawa Family Physicians, their physicians and nurse practitioner provide a variety of comprehensive health care services, including family medicine, OBGYN, pediatric, and geriatric care. Doctors Ransom, Spratt, Gollier, Sinclair, Ogilvy, Nichols, and Simmons offer their services 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and Saturdays from 8:30 to noon. For your health care needs, call Ottawa Family Physicians at 785-242-1620.
And welcome back to the Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show. I almost got switched up with football season there. The Pizza Time Hoop Talk Show, and here with Coach Siebenthal of the Ottawa Braves men's team, and we'll finish up here talking about last week's games and then move on to next week and some other subjects. But so the McPherson game, you had mentioned Zach Brown being one of the players who might be able to step up a little bit without Jeremiah Brooks available. He actually got some first half playing time, which I think may have been the first time I've seen him in the first half of a game this season. Has he really shown a lot of progress this year?
He's kind of come in waves. Zach actually started a game at home earlier in the year, and because he had trouble remembering the first 3 plays I called, didn't go back in the game. So it's taken Zach, like most transfers, it takes them a while to adjust and learn our stuff and kind of know what I expect. But he's done a good job, and he's, for whatever reason, he's really moving a lot better than he has. Mm-hmm. Zach's really talented offensively. The questions with Zach are what, how's he going to guard? Is he going to rebound? Is he going to be physical? Those are the things that Zach has to focus on, but he gives us another threat out there that can score the ball, and he's couldn't be a whole lot different than JB. I mean, he's 6'8". He's really the tallest guy on our team, but he's almost like a guard. He's got guard skills, but he's got to obviously defend a post, and so that's where we'll see if he can step up and help us tomorrow night.
So with him having maybe more of a guard's game by nature, do you want to kind of train that out of him and turn him into more of a post player, or just keep him versatile and someone who can kind of move out to the perimeter when he needs to?
Yeah, no, I mean, we want him to continue to be skilled and do what he does well. I mean, if you look at Logan Bollinger, I mean, Logan shoots a ton of threes for us. He's a skilled guy. Zach can put it on the ground a lot better than Logan can. What we'd like for Zach to continue to work on is developing one move around the basket. Usually it's a half hook. And then he's got to get bigger and stronger and be able to bang down there a little bit defensively. And if he'll enjoy the contact, and if he'll kind of realize that's just the way you got to play, then he can definitely help us. And I know he can help us going forward this year, but also we have high expectations for him helping us next year as well.
And having a 6'8" guy who's really effective in the post and knows how to play down low, that obviously adds another element to the team that, Logan Bollinger does an excellent job of that, but being able to add 2 more inches of height down there, especially in a conference where a lot of the team's big guy is only 6'5", 6'6", that's got to be a big benefit to the team.
Yeah, Zach, our ideal is that in our offense, you've seen it, anybody can be on the perimeter, and we'd really like everybody to be able to score the ball. So, that's kind of what we're trying to build towards, and Zach definitely gives us that offensive factor. So hopefully he'll be ready for the challenge tomorrow, and if not, we've got a couple other guys that'll step up, and we've started 13 different people this year, and a lot of our exhibition games we played all 16 people that we suit up. So I'm not afraid to throw anybody in there and give them a shot, and we'll see what happens.
All right. And speaking of size and height, and then we'll move on to this week's opponents. But McPherson had a couple of guys who were taller down there, probably than outside of Zach Brown, probably than anyone on your roster. Then a couple of guys who maybe weren't as tall, but could throw their weight around a little in the post, who are just solidly built guys. How were you able to effectively manage that more with a team that couldn't be more different from St. Mary, who really doesn't go to height very much?
Well, I like that mismatch because there's ways where we can defend those guys in the post with more than one body. But really the mismatch for us is that in our offense, if you're guarding, let's say, Logan Bollinger, you're bigger than him, you have to guard him in the post, and then he's going to lift to the top of the key, then you got to guard him on the perimeter, and then he's going to set a ball screen right there at the top of the key. And then he's going to get the ball, then he's going to throw it to the wing, and he's going to go set another ball screen. And so, if you're guarding Logan, you really probably have ran 20 feet from the block to the top of the key. You've guarded a ball screen, then you got to run another 15 feet to the wing and guard another ball screen against somebody that can really shoot the ball really well. And so it's tough for bigs to guard our bigs because they are so active. And so that's, again, why ball movement is such a important key for us is and then while their bigs are so worried about guarding our bigs and all that action, our guards usually have some driving lanes and can create for each other that way.
And then Bollinger can get back on defense and block some shots, protect the rim a little bit too. So he's a two-way player.
Oh yeah, Logan he definitely doesn't get enough credit for his defensive abilities, and he's almost always guarding somebody bigger and more physical than he is, but he does a great job, and he's really long. He blocks a lot of shots. And I think Logan's kind of underrated defensively, but he's the anchor of our defense and does a great job. And he plays a lot of minutes. I worry about him all the time, as many minutes as he plays. But Logan's our most valuable guy right now. We're deep, and we've got some some guys who play a lot of positions. But if we would lose Logan, we would be in a world of hurt. So I'm going to knock on this table right now.
So looking forward to this weekend, to tomorrow. You're playing up in Nebraska at York, and York receiving votes for the top 25, second place in KCAC right now, just behind Tabor. It'll be the first time you face them this season. What do you expect to see out of them? Looking at them on paper, they don't have a Grant Greenberg, anyone who stands out is going to score 30 points a game, but they have a few guys who are averaging 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, they have 3 guys that I think are in their starting lineup. They're getting 15 a game. They have, and I mean, this is not a slight against Tabor. I mean, Tabor is the best team in our conference, but York has the best talent in our conference. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it starts with the Coleman kid. I mean, he's just a 6'6" beast. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's really strong. He's really athletic. The Cooksey kid is a guard on the perimeter that's just fearless and takes a lot of tough shots and makes a lot of shots. Their other big is really talented. I mean, they're athletic as heck. And they share the ball. They move the ball and play well together. So it's going to be. It's a new gym. I've never been there. It's obviously just a whole new experience for us. But I think our guys are excited about the challenge. And York plays mostly man, but they play a really weird zone defense that's pretty unique. So we're going to see some different things. And I think for us to be successful, the Coleman kid has got to be the focus of our defensive scheme, and it's scary because we're coming off of other guys that can score. But again, are we going to let the guy getting 16 points a game beat us, or are we going to try and make the guy getting 5 points a game beat us? And that's kind of our attitude going into that game.
And this is another team like St. Mary who can knock down threes. They're hitting 37% from outside, so it'll be another game where you've got to make sure you're locking down the perimeter as well.
Yeah, we definitely have to guard on the perimeter, but I'm way more worried about their two bigs, posting up, and way more worried about their guards getting to the rim, especially in transition. They play super fast, and they're not super big either. I mean, they're like 6'5", 6'6", kind of like us, and so anybody can get the rebound and lead their break. So I'm a lot more worried about who's going to win the points in the paint battle, who's going to win, and then they really rebound the heck out of it too. So we watched film on them today, and I think our guys have a good idea of what we need to do. But it'll be a really good challenge, and I think this is a game where, we've beaten the teams that are below us in the standings in the conference, and we've lost the teams that are above us in the standing, and now we'll be basically halfway through conference, and we got to find a way to beat those teams that are above us if we want to try and get a home game in the conference tournament. So.
All right, we will take one more break, and then we'll be back to talk a little about Saturday's opponent, Southwestern. You're listening to the Hoop Talk Show here from Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa on KOFO.
Is that a 747?
Only Taco Bell's $5 cravings deal has 5 of your favorites in one box.
How do planes fly?
So you don't spend your lunch break deciding what's for lunch.
700,000 pounds in the air and no one questions it?
Freeing your mind for so many other thoughts. They're just planes, man. Get over it. Taco Bell's $5 cravings box with a cheesy gordita crunch, burrito supreme, taco, nachos, and a Baja Blast. It's the only lunch that frees your mind and your cravings. At participating locations, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Fresh powder. I'll get the skis.
Ugh, I can't.
Winter nasal congestion. Is it A, cold, B, sinus pressure, C, allergies?
I'm not sure.
For all of the above, the answer is D, Allegra D, a maximum strength decongestant plus a powerful non-drowsy antihistamine for 24 hours of relief. Feel better?
Yep. Feel like racing?
Hey, wait! This winter, the answer is Allegra D. Look for Allegra D at the pharmacy counter. Use as directed.
At Simple Mobile, we want to make wireless simple, so we won't use any sound effects like to describe our blazing fast network. Simple Mobile offers truly unlimited high-speed data, talk, and text for just $60 a month. Sure, we could use lots of echo to show how bottomless our unlimited high-speed data is, but we won't. Bottom line, we give you more speed and data for less money, because if you want better wireless, the answer's simple. Available at Dollar General, Family Dollar, CVS, and other select national retailers. Savings may vary. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at simplemobile.com.
Getting a great night's sleep is easier and more affordable than you might think. You don't need a new, expensive mattress mattress, or sleeping pills, you just need to change your sheets. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. What makes Boll & Branch sheets different is that they're meticulously crafted from pure 100% organic cotton. And because we only sell online, we've cut out all the expensive retail markups. Plus, if you go to bollandbranch.com today, we'll give you $50 off your first set of sheets when you use promo code DOZE. bollandbranch.com. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code DOZE.
And welcome back to the Hoop Talk show here on Pizza Time. This is our final segment, so you still got a few minutes to swing by and stop in and talk to Coach Tate and Coach Stiebenthal here, and also pick yourself up a pizza while you're at it. We're still talking to Coach Stiebenthal, the men's team. We kind of previewed the game tomorrow against York, and then we turn around, and on Saturday there's a game out down in Winfield against Southwestern, and that's a team that you guys struggle with a little bit at home to open KCAC play, but that almost playing like a different team at that point. You had the four-game winning streak shortly after that and kind of turned things around. Do you expect things to look a little different this time around?
I mean, I hope so. I don't think we, take nothing away from Southwestern. I mean, they beat us, but I just don't think at the time when we played them, we hadn't really found our defensive identity yet. We were still kind of figuring out who we were going to be defensively, and I feel like we've got that established, and that doesn't necessarily translate to wins or losses, but it I think gives us a better chance to win. So, they're a lot more like St. Mary than anybody else in the league. I mean, they shoot a ton of threes. They're about the same size, kind of run a similar offense, a lot of pick and pop stuff, and they got a lot of guys that can really shoot the three. So it'll be another good challenge, and the Saturday games are always tougher for a lot of reasons. I mean, obviously we're traveling tomorrow, which is an issue, and then the short turnaround time as far as preparation. But sometimes I think that's good, just to no matter how Thursday turns out, just to get back after it and get out on the court, and hopefully the weather will cooperate and we can get that game in Saturday, and hopefully we're going to ride on the ice and risk our lives. It's always better to come back with a win, so hopefully we'll go to Winfield and come away with the win.
And when we were talking about McPherson, you mentioned that you almost prefer playing more traditional teams with two post players, but yeah, you don't play a real big lineup. It's usually a couple of guys who are 6'3", 6'4", and then Logan Bollinger down low at 6'6". Do you think playing with more of a kind of four guard, even if they're not pure guards, but playing with that style of lineup helps you defend the teams that do like to put up a lot of threes?
I mean, it's easier. I mean, if we had, John Ocon at 6'8" and 280 pounds that we had last year, I mean, he's not going to be able to go out and guard those guys. So,
right.
we don't, but also we don't have somebody that's 6'8", 280 pounds that we can post up that other teams can't guard. So, it goes both ways. I think for us, our defense is it's less about our personnel than it is about our system, and our system is designed to go better against teams that have two traditional posts. But it's pretty simple. I mean, if teams are going to be small like St. Mary or like Southwestern is and shoot a lot of threes, then we just switch ball screens, and that's a pretty simple fix. But then obviously you're going to have mismatches. You're going to have our smaller guys on their bigger guys and vice versa. So, but hopefully, the way we teach defense, that anybody can try and stay in front of anybody for a couple dribbles anyway.
All right, well, that is all the time we've got for tonight's Hoop Talk show. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be here. We're still working out the details on next week because we've actually got a Wednesday game next week, but we'll be sure to let you know, and as always, feel free to join us down here at Pizza Time in downtown Ottawa. Thank you to Pizza Time for hosting the show tonight, and best of luck to you here in the next few days here, Coach.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and thank you for listening. I'm David Potter with KOFO on 1220 and 103.7 FM.